Brighton Council has joined Birmingham and Tower Hamlets in removing England flags, prompting fury among its residents. St George's crosses added to this zebra crossing in the city were promptly washed off, sparking locals' ire. Many pointed to the pride flags flown around the city and wider country with no objection from the council. One commenter wrote, "Just deface it with rainbows, but that's okay." Another made a similar point. One commenter said our flag is a work of art and should never be thought of as vandalism. These residents had all been responding to a local Labour councillor who had congratulated, quote, hard-working environmental services operatives who have restored this pedestrian crossing in the centre of the city after it was vandalised. She went on to say, "We will be flying the St George's flag when our Red Roses compete in the Rugby World Cup, and we're excited to host them in Brighton on the 6th of September. But we know that real patriots don't deface our shared public realm, and in our city of sanctuary we have no truck with vandalism to intimidate and divide." Brighton is a declared city of sanctuary for migrants and refugees as part of its project to become an anti-racist city. The council said it's committed to building a culture of hospitality and welcome, especially for refugees. Among its services for migrants, it says the council has trained all library staff to ensure the migrants feel welcome. City of Sanctuary came under fire recently for its Schools of Sanctuary programme.
Comes down to the an umbrella organisation called City of Sanctuary UK. Now, they have been trying to do what the Democrats did in the US, which is turn the UK into a place of sanctuary cities. So we've got boroughs of sanctuaries, universities of sanctuaries, and we've also got schools and nurseries of sanctuary. We have 1,200 in the UK. And when I started nosing around what they've been up to, I found heart galore, as in children, tiny children sending out Valentine's cards, writing them, being encouraged to make them. And I mean, to be honest, I was spoilt for material, but now the organisations...
So, sorry, these Valentine's Day cards that we're showing on screen, those are being sent to asylum seekers from British school children.
Yeah, and you'll see in the corner it says, "Welcome to the stranger." You know, children normally get told, don't talk to strangers. Whereas this scheme is the complete opposite because it's a nicey inclusion scheme. You know, it must mean that, you know, that it's fine because...
And what you're doing with your work, because I read Woke Waste, which is your Substack newsletter, is excellent, where you basically reveal the insanity of what's going on. We've got a couple of examples that we'll come to in a second, and I'll just read through some of those. What to you has been the most eye-opening example of what the institutions have been up to? Because that's what you're basically doing, isn't it? You're revealing what is going on in taxpayer-funded institutions who are spending often hundreds of thousands of, you know, pounds from the British people on crazy ideological projects.
Yeah, the worst, I would say, the most urgent problem is in the charity sector. Taxpayer funding going towards what I would deem open border ideology.
Right.
One of the worst examples perhaps I've found is a foundation called the Paul Hamlin Foundation.
Right.
Most people will have never heard of it, but we gave 1.4 million to it between 2020 and 23, and it explicitly believes in open borders. It has a migration fund which has gone to organisations such as Hope Not Hate Charitable Fund.
Right.
You get these Paul Hamlin...
So indirectly, that British people, British taxpayers are funding organisations that are then telling the British people they're racist if they complain about broken borders.
Absolutely. Keir Starmer goes on about smash the gangs, but it's more like you need to smash the charities. You know, there's a whole industrial complex that is fueling the opposite of what a lot of taxpayers say they want.
Let me just bring in Kai Wilshaw. What about this Valentine's Day story, Kai? You know, British kids being asked to send Valentine's Day cards to asylum seekers and illegal migrants.
Look, the framing of this does make it look really quite horrible, but actually, the welcome to the stranger phrase that you just used, Charlotte, we used to do that at school back in my day. That's not, to me, new. Things like Operation Christmas Child, this idea of sending gifts to people that you have no chance of ever knowing across the world, and some understanding that you have to have compassion for them. I don't think that's bad.
Well, I think it just speaks for itself if you look at all the photographs. It just goes way too far. And the other problem is the politicisation of schools. The Education Act It says that you should not be imparting political views to children or you should not be engaging in political activities. And these children are writing things on the hearts like Stop the Rwanda Scheme, I Love Refugee Rights, letters to Keir Starmer.
OK, well, a spokesman for Schools of Sanctuary, which Charlotte Gill just mentioned, said this: we know that false inflammatory material about our schools has been circulating online. Contrary to what these dangerous misrepresentations claim, our programmes promote compassion, understanding and safety.
Elsewhere in Birmingham, Brits in possession of England flags claim they were banned from entering this pub.
You're like the one from, Trump. His bird.
I'm happy to let
She's quite pretty as well.
So I have to take my England flag off to come into an establishment in England. Madness, isn't it?
Jen's happy to serve you again. But
Do you not think there's an issue with that? Like,
It's not.
do you not understand why people might be upset by that? What if I had an England flag shirt on? Would that be alright?
Gents, again, I'm happy to serve you.
If I had an English flag, would that be alright? If I had a Palestinian flag on, would that be alright to come in?
You'd be straight in there.
Oh, you wouldn't stop that, would you?
I'm happy to serve you if you'd like.
Oh, you can't answer the question because it's difficult for you, isn't
I can
it?
answer if you want to.
I can leave, but I just wanted to highlight that this pub will not let anyone in with an English flag, which is absolutely ridiculous, really.
I
in
feel
England.
like you're causing a bit of an issue and I'd like you to leave before I'm home, please.
Yeah, I'll leave. I'll leave.
They've
already been, yeah. I'm leaving in my own time, don't worry. It's trespass, I'll leave slowly.
There's no violence, there's no nothing.
Well, this pub here will not let people in with England flags.
The pub's owner, Green King, did not respond to a request for comment. Flag fever has gripped Britain in recent weeks, after initially a Birmingham council ordered the St George's Cross be removed from its lampposts. This attitude many feel is permeating Britain stands in stark contrast with Donald Trump's America, where burning the US flag has just been outlawed.
Lastly, sir, this is an executive order on flag burning. It charges your Attorney General.
Would you listen to this? This is very important. Flag burning. All over the country, they're burning flags. All over the world, they burn the American flag. And as you know, through a very sad court, I guess it was a 5-4 decision, they called it freedom of speech. But there's another reason, which is perhaps much more important. It's called death. Because what happens when you burn a flag is the area goes crazy. If you have hundreds of people, they go crazy. You can do other things. You can burn this piece of paper. But when you burn the American flag, it incites riots at levels that we've never seen before. People go crazy. In a way, both ways. There are some that are going crazy for doing it. There are others that are angry about them doing it. Do you want to discuss that?
Sure. So what the executive order does, sir, it charges your Department of Justice with investigating instances of flag burning, and then where there's evidence of criminal activity, where prosecution wouldn't fall afoul of the First Amendment, and instructs the Department of Justice to prosecute those who are engaged in these instances of flag burning.
And what the penalty is going to be, if you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. No early exits, no nothing. You get 1 year in jail. If you burn a flag, and what it does is incite to riot. I hope they use that language, by the way. Did they?
Yeah, incitement.
Incite to riot. And you burn a flag, you get 1 year in jail. You don't get 10 years, you don't get 1 month. You get 1 year in jail, and it goes on your record. And you will see flag burning stopping immediately, just like when I signed the Statute and Monument Act. 10 years in jail if you hurt any of our beautiful monuments. Everybody left town. They were gone. Never had a problem after that. It's pretty amazing. We stopped it. But this is something that's, I don't know, in a certain way, it's equally as important. Some people would say it's more important. Because the people in this country don't want to see our American flag burned and spit on. And by people that are, in many cases, paid agitators. They're paid by the radical left to do it. You talk to these people, they don't even know, half of them don't even know what they're doing. They say, I don't know, they gave me money to do this. I see the same things that you do. They're bad people. They're trying to destroy our nation. That's not working, because I think our nation now is the most respected nation anywhere in the world, by far. You saw that with the European leaders on Friday. You saw that with NATO, where they agreed to go from 2% no pay to 5% fully paid up, trillions of dollars paid, where they respect your president to a level that they jokingly call me the president of Europe. They call me the president of Europe, which is an honor. I like Europe, and I like those people. They're good people. They're great leaders. And we've never had a case where 7 plus really 28, essentially 38 countries were represented here the other day. 38 European countries were represented, European and other countries were represented, and it was a great meeting. But your country is respected again. I say it all the time. 1 year ago, our country was dead. Everybody said it. We had a dead country. We were not going to survive. Now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. So it's an honor to be involved, and this group has a lot to do with it, right behind me.
Nick Dunning, GB News.